Today is July 30th, and this is the Quality of Life and Infrastructure Committee. We'll call roll. I am here, Councilmember Moser-Campoli,
I am here.
Councilmember Walsh-Russo,
Here.
and everybody have a chance to look over the minutes from the meeting.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, any changes, everything look good?
No, that looks fine.
Looks good to me.
All good.
Pass that over. And first topic is parking setback signs on Hudson Street and mid-block crosswalk by Valley View School. And I do know we have somebody who would like to speak. Just, I need your name and your address.
So my name is Julie Morris. I live at 58 Hudson Street in Oneonta. Somewhat recently moved there last November. And one of the very delightful things that I found living there is that let me orient you first. Valley View Elementary School is across the street. It faces Valley View Street or Avenue, but the back of the school is on Hudson Street. And that is the schoolyard, the walkway for everybody, and the driveway for the school. So there's really a lot of activity in the back of the school, probably much more than in the front, aside from the time when the kids are dropped off. So one of the things I noticed when I first got here was that kids walked by themselves to school a lot, and I was very surprised to see that. I hadn't seen it in a really long time. It was very delightful, but it made me worry because right next to my house, just east of 58 Hudson Street, there's a crosswalk. And that crosswalk is the only one on the street. And there's a couple things to know. First of all, nobody observes the speed limit, which is 15 miles an hour from 7 in the morning till 6. People go very fast down that street. You cannot even see a kid in that crosswalk because school people, teachers, and school employees park right on either side of that crosswalk. One of the parking places is right at the end of my driveway. It's 15 feet to the crosswalk, and I can tell you that I cannot see anything getting out of my driveway, so I know that people coming down the street cannot see children on either side of that. So I wrote to Chris Iacobazzi and asked if I could ask the city to put up a simple sign on the crosswalk that says no parking within 20 feet of the crosswalk. You'll see in my little packet that when I looked up what are the rules in Oneonta, that was one of them. But apparently, Chris told me later that that might be a suggestion and not a real rule. I don't know. I think it really needs to be a rule because this is an accident waiting to happen. I mean, I sit out there and have my morning coffee and I see these kids. You can't even see them over the cars that are parked there. There's cars parked right on each edge of this crosswalk on both sides of the street. So my simple request is, one, that they put up a sign that says no parking within 20 feet of the crosswalk. It would eliminate essentially 3 parking places. There's plenty of other places to park on the street, including in front of my house, in front of the neighbors' houses, everywhere. We're all fine with that. But this is too dangerous. And I wonder if we could get one of those monitors that remind people how fast they're going when they're going down that street. Perhaps it could be put in that 15-foot spot between the crosswalk and my driveway so that people could actually notice that they're going 35 or maybe even 40 down that street where they're little kids. And they're I think 42 inches. I looked up what's the average height of a first grader, and that's it. And it's below the level of the cars that are always parked there. So that's why I'm here. I wanted to ask for some help for the kids and my frazzled nerves, because really I feel I have to be out there every morning to watch, make sure he's okay. I think it's, like I said, it's a tragedy waiting to happen. And I don't know if you can do anything about it, but my 3 requests are really just a couple of signs. It would be 2 signs, 2 small signs to attach to the existing sign that says crosswalk that says no parking within 20 feet of the crosswalk. That's all it would take. I know the teachers and the people that work in the school would observe that. But as it is, they're skidding in, just before school starts and park, and I think it's, and the other is maybe some monitoring of the speed and also some enforcement of the speed limit on that block. I think think it's different because it's in the back of the school and not the front, where they don't have this problem because as all schools, you know, there's a lot of traffic. When the kids are dropped off, you wait forever to let your kid off in, but not in the back. So that's why I'm here. That's my plea, my prayer, my hope.
Okay. Chris, did you want?
I wrote this up because I thought I needed to see the common council, so I didn't address it to the right committee, but I was here a
That's
couple
okay.
days.
We're members of the common council.
That's all right,
So
that's
it's-
good. Chris?
So I asked Julie to come here to speak on her own behalf, to you guys and, state her case. I wanted her to come here to talk to you because it is eliminating parking spaces, which we all know is a big deal here in the city. And if we do it at one location, one crosswalk, we're likely to have to do it at others. So I figured she could come and state her case in relation to her situation in that location. The MUTCD, which is the code that we use for traffic, recommends, not requires 20-foot separation from the crosswalk when there's no traffic signal. So the 20 feet is a recommendation, not a requirement. And there is no code, the city code does not have anything stating that we'll have a certain setback from crosswalks currently. Unless I know different, unless I'm missing something.
So,
No, the city code does not address it directly. It's been practice in many cases that from a stop sign, stop bar, or a crosswalk, depending on what is there, that we go back 20 feet for a.
Sorry, but I'm hearing impaired and unfortunately I forgot to put my hearing aids on.
No, that's okay, I can speak up, sorry. Is that better? So the city code does not address directly there being any required setback for parking from a crosswalk. But our standard practice when we've addressed different intersections for one reason or another has been to go 20 feet from the stop bar, which is usually with a stop sign, or the crosswalk, like in this case. It's not something that's included specifically in our code, so to establish that and make sure it's enforceable, that is something that this committee and the council could consider adding.
I did want to say that when I first looked it up, I found something that was a city code and it said 10 feet, and then when I tried to find it again, I could never find it again, but I did include a few things in there that indicate it's 20 feet. And also, the speed limit sign for my block is way at the beginning, 7 houses down from the schoolyard. That says 15 miles an hour. I really think people barely see it and they don't even think to slow down because they've gone by 7 houses where the school appears. On the other way, coming from the other direction, it's just 2 houses. So, I don't know if anything can be done. I'll volunteer to make the signs and put them up. If anybody will let me do it, I'd be more than happy to do it, following all the rules of this. Just something so that these little kids who have the last chance, it seems, in the universe to walk to school without a parent get to continue to do it.
yeah.
Oh, was you gonna go? No, I was just gonna say, I'm the Ward 1 representative, so that's my neighborhood. I'm much more familiar with the other side of the building, the front side of the building, because my kid did walk to school there regularly. So thank you for bringing the information. And I guess I'm also looking, to, Chris and maybe Greg too, about advice about what might be, best here as far as mitigating some of these concerns, or I think we do have that traffic thing, or the speed monitor, right? I don't know what the plans are for that going forward, if this can be worked into, because I know that the way it works on the other side of the school, the main street is also a school zone,
Right.
and I live right in that section, and just observing, it doesn't seem like people recognize that one either,
Yeah.
from my observations. But-
Greg, do you have the map? Do you have the map available? For the speed studies we've been doing, most of them,
Oh.
update recently.
Can't pull it up on the screen.
I just know
Exact
I
where-
remember we've seen them not too
yeah,
long
let me
ago.
look
I don't know
but-
if we had gotten the 80th percentile of that street or not.
Take a look longer. Keep talking, I'll
Yeah.
take a look.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I have a, to your question about, or maybe it was Chris's point about eliminating potential or actual parking sites, parking locations. I gotta say, I thank you for your detailed map here.
I'm
It's
sorry
very
that it's so
helpful,
crummy.
and I like that you say that these parked cars are not a problem problem, but these are where the problem is. I wouldn't mind going to check it out myself just to see, because that does seem, just eyeballing it based on your map here, it does seem like the cars would be quite close to a crosswalk.
They're right on it, because.
It seems,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it seems like it is could be an actual site of concern. So,
The one
I don't have any problem investigating this further in terms of eliminating these as potential parking sites.
My other point that I was gonna bring up, I don't, I haven't paid attention specifically to school versus non-school hours, but Hudson Street in general seems to often have many spots open. I don't know about these particular sites, but it feels to me like, there would be some room in that area to eliminate some parking potentially to get those better sight lines.
One thing on my map that's not right is the driveway to the school is right at the front of the parking space on the north side of the street, so no one would park there anyway. I made the driveway looks a little bit farther away than it is, so there's really the one behind the crosswalk and the two on the south side of the street is it. Thank you for listening.
Did you find it?
So the study that I have in here was from 2019, but probably still applicable. Nothing's changed much since then as far as the street design, and this is at 56 Hudson Street, which is right next to your house, or near your house, right?
58.
You're at 58, so it's right near there. So.
And anybody who wants to come and observe is welcome to sit on my porch. There's only room for 2 chairs, but you're welcome to have one of them if you want to watch the kids come and see what's happening.
So the 85th percentile speed was 15 miles per hour in one direction. That would have been facing east. That would have been westbound traffic, and then eastbound traffic was 22 miles per hour. So there are violators of that. That's the 85th percentile. There are people going faster than that, but just this alone wouldn't indicate that a speed limit needs to be changed. It does seem to indicate that general compliance. Is it a 25 mile an hour? 15 by the school there.
During the school, I promise you that no one's going 15 or 22. I mean, they might have been in some other, time, but right now they go really fast down that street.
Is one of the radar units available that we could put up there?
It will be if it's not now.
We just got to put it in the queue.
Yeah.
We're right now, I think we've got two out. Yeah, so we just have to have a list and we send it off to Sergeant Pietrowski and he'll see that it happens at some point.
Probably more towards the school year? Because that seems.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be the issue, right, is that, the state law recognizes when school's in and out of session, and right now it's out of session. So putting it up now would provide less of a useful result than if we did it in the first week of September. But, also then is, that first week, are people adjusting, right? We'll probably have some level of enforcement as the students come back, as we usually do. But there's also, there's 3 schools. That's a problematic area, and we've been discussing parking there for more than the last 10 years. Mostly drop off and pickup, simply because the front of the building is so congested and there's such a high volume of cars in that really short period of time. Don't know that there's a good solution there. I think that the city probably has more options for Hudson Street than the school does for expanding their existing footprint. For example, the grassy area between Hudson Street and the sidewalk on the north side of Hudson behind the school is often used for parking and pickup and drop off, which with that green space there is always mucked up and it gets to be, there's no drainage there, so, is that something that you could put more paving up towards the sidewalk? I don't know that that would be a great option or not, but at least it would push cars over.
Yeah.
But that would also tend to increase speeds through there as well, because you'd be widening the roadway, and we know that the more we widen the roadway, the faster we get speeds. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
I have no objection to doing the 20 feet. I really just
So I have a question. I wonder if this has to do, if there's an increase in traffic in that area now due to the DOT roundabout construction?
I would say it's negligible, really. Most people are using Otsego Street detour.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there's been some uptick. I mean, obviously, I'm over there also. I really haven't seen a huge increase. It
Okay.
wasn't, certainly not like it was when they did the aqueduct replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just had a follow-up about potential infrastructure changes. Is there a possibility of investigating whether or not a raised sidewalk near the school would be useful, or raised crosswalk would be useful?
Yeah, I would certainly say that's almost an ideal
Yeah.
place to look at one of those. Another thing that we could do is narrowing the road at the crosswalk. So coupled with the 20-foot setbacks, if at some point in the future we install a raised curb that bumps out, so the place where a person would stand to look for cars is actually where a car would be parked.
Right.
So then they're out a little bit further, there's that vertical edge and a sign that says this is a crosswalk. You see them around town.
Yeah.
Certain places where have been established. It just puts the person out a little bit better where they can see and the car can see them. But that would be a capital project at some point in the future.
So, any action you guys wanna take now? Like, do you wanna do the 20-foot setback?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm comfortable with
Can you
that,
take
and two
over?
folks feel like we need to investigate more, that's fine, but I think we can go ahead and try that.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and we'll start that part, and then we'll also look into some other things, maybe
Yeah.
during the school year. Chief, when you guys get a second, if we could maybe put those radar units up there and see what we got going on during the school year.
Yeah, I think 2019 is far enough back. It would be good to get a count also to see what kind of traffic volume there is through there now.
And then, so we got the setback, we'll do that, and then we'll, should have time before the end of the year to revisit a little bit of it and see if we gotta do some other, you know, any other fine tuning here, whether we maybe look into putting a raised crosswalk in sooner than later for the safety. But we'll start gathering the evidence that we need to justify.
So bring to council a 282 request to change the setbacks.
See the setbacks, you're gonna have to do whatever you gotta do with your parking, cause you're gonna lose what, 2 parking spots or something like that, you said? So,
Oh, I mean, right, yeah, 3, I guess.
3,
According to this.
crap, well, so yeah, we'll have that for the next council meeting. If you can get it for the next council meeting, if not, council meeting after.
Okay. Do
You know, I know you got a lot on there, so,
Okay. Do you want that on the consent agenda or the
yeah,
discussion?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks
In
for all the
relation to
detail.
this, Greg and I talked about, do we bring all these, continue to bring all these to Click? Is this something we continue to bring to Click and
All
have
these-
Luke make the decision on these things?
Like concerns about, like
Yes.
how traffic flow or parking, different things
Parking
like that. I mean,
spaces, adding parking spaces, removing parking
I
spaces.
think that makes sense.
Handicap
What do
parking
you,
spaces, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
rather than.
I say so, let us be the
infrastructure, right, piece of it?
Let us be
so-
if there's,
Yeah.
First round.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
we'll- okay, there you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Nice to meet you as well.
Uh,
Absolutely.
See what else happened here?
Yeah.
Number 2, City Hall vehicle parking. Something tells me I started this, I don't remember. Oh,
You
yeah,
did. You
yes.
asked us to take a look at whether we could not have city-owned vehicles parked in the City Hall parking lot on council meeting nights
Yes.
specifically. So we were gonna talk about maybe some pros and cons to that, I guess. Chris and I talked about that briefly the other day. It doesn't seem like it's too big of a deal. I think the risk is that if we say only on council nights, that people are gonna forget what council night is, and sometimes we'll end up with some cars parked here, but we could just generally strive to do that. I think. I mean, I haven't actually had a chance to talk to Stephen about it. I don't know, Stephen, if you have any thoughts on it. You got the code vehicles here. Is that something where at the end of the day we could move the deed slot on a council night?
Yeah.
Simple enough, you know. Is that
Yeah,
really all you're looking for, just on council nights?
yeah, I was, just because like when you got the council night and everybody's trying to get here and then, you know,
And I think just on probably, the regularly scheduled ones, I know like special meetings come up and that's gonna be out of the routine, but I think that was mainly the concern was the regular meetings when we get the most attendance.
Yeah.
You wanna talk about the other idea we had,
Yeah.
parking it like either at Demaski Field and having workers park their vehicle at Demaski Field and bring the city vehicles up for the day and then bring them back at night, kind of thing. I don't know if that's an issue or a possibility, like a punch out issue.
I don't wanna make it too cumbersome, it was just like, we're just talking like the council nights, and, as everybody's fighting to try to get in, and, then you got like 5, sometimes you get the pickup truck there after our codes guys, like, clean out somebody's yard, because they weren't doing their job, and walking by and it stinks, so, it was just a kind of meeting night, was really, I mean, if you guys wanna go further, I won't stop you, but I don't want you to think you have to either. Like, I don't want it to be get cumbersome,
All of justice with the city hall, police line,
Here you go.
everybody in the same place.
Third option.
All I can think is like the CarMax things where the cars go in, you
Yeah.
push the button.
Build up
it goes.
instead of that, parking lot.
So, yeah, I'm good with that. That was just, it was really just the primary, the council meeting nights when it gets congested, especially when we have the real hot topics that come up. Like especially now we're in the budget stuff, people are really gonna be starting to come out. So,
Okay, we don't need any council action, we'll just
yeah, no,
do
just,
something, one of those two things. And
it was a friendly
Three.
request,
Yeah.
friendly
Yeah.
ask, that's all.
That sounds good.
27 Market Street parking lot post-construction.
I believe this conversation came up in a quick meeting, or was it in a council meeting? Doesn't matter. We have, obviously, construction should be coming to a close this fall, October. By then, I think we'll be into the new transit hub, the new parking lot should be open at 47 Market. We'll call that the Market Street parking lot, to not be confusing. And so the temporary parking lot at 27 Market Street, the council established a code section that allowed that to be a public parking lot. Technically, that is in violation of the city zoning code. We all understood that was the case, and it was deemed justifiable to temporarily allow public parking there. So now, with construction coming to a close, another parking lot opening up with more than twice as much capacity, no immediate future plans for 27 Market Street, so what do we want to do there? Figured we should start that conversation now somewhere, maybe here, and see where it goes, so we have a plan in place by the time October rolls around. So,
Yeah, I remember, go ahead.
No.
I remember us starting the conversation saying we could start it here, we didn't have a problem with that. And I remember the last council meeting or something like that, Councilmember LaParche, she brought up and asked the mayor what his plans were. And I think it's actually, what is this, the council's plans, it should be what we'd like to do with it. So like if we have ideas or whatever, start the process in a committee so that it's vetted a little bit more.
And what I remember we talked about in conversation about, when the new lot opens was that we didn't want to keep investing in the 27 Market Street, like, painting lines and stuff like that. So then, but then this will get us closer to that season that then we're talking about snow removal and other kinds of maintenance. So, I mean, I think once we have 47 Market Street, parking open and that's much bigger and it is designed for parking, I don't think we should have parking at 27 Market Street anymore. I don't see that we need it.
I think I kind of agree with that. I think it was until we get going full bore, after we get everything opened up and see where we are with parking too. But I don't think we should keep it open unless we absolutely have to. We can come back and revisit it. But you're going to be putting man hours in to clean it. The dumpsters that are in the back of it, the painting of the lines, snow removal, all that.
Sunken costs.
Yeah.
I'm just saying costs can go up and up and up. with it,
Exactly,
so.
and I remember that the garbage bins was brought up as a concern to us, but, in further conversations, it's not the city's responsibility to house those items, So that'll be something, you know, that the owners of those bins need to figure out, I guess.
Yes, Chris.
That was my question regarding the garbage bins, so are we gonna give them that deadline when they need to have them out of there by?
I would say by the time, you know, if, maybe saying by the time the parking lot opens isn't clear enough, maybe we should give that an actual firm, like, date, you know?
When's,
October, November, right?
yeah, when's it
So-
slated to be open, October?
I don't have a date, but yeah, I would think October, barring, you know, significant weather delays or otherwise, right, Chris? End of October, I would say.
So what about December first? That way if we get a little bit, not quite make the date of October.
Mhm. Yeah, I
That's-
think we gotta put something on
I
it.
mean, that's almost, I mean, you're looking at what, August, what are we in now, July, August, September.
That's
I think
plenty
that's
of
almost
months,
like
it
5
seems like, to
months.
come up with a plan.
And as long as those bins are there, we're gonna have to continue to plow and salt that area.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
so
right.
Let's-
let's
And
do
it's
it-
gonna be snow, presumably.
Yeah.
We can assume before December 1st. That's what I was thinking when you
Mhm.
said that. It's probably gonna snow before then.
So I would say
With
that
this
it's
heat
November
wave?
first, November first, if not even earlier.
I was only thinking December first, only because of,
Yeah.
if we got,
Yeah,
totally.
if we didn't make the
Absolutely.
October.
Right.
But if our point is that we're not going to continue to maintain it, if we then maintain it, or are we setting the precedent that, you know, that we don't wanna set there?
Well, no, cause we'd only maintain until December first just for that.
Yeah.
That,
Okay.
and then they would be out of there knowing that we're not doing it anymore. You know? I'm only one voice, you guys,
Yeah.
if you wanna go to November, I was thinking kind of after Thanksgiving anyway, because, you know, with the restaurants and stuff, I don't know who all uses those, I'll be
Yeah, I
honest
was
with you.
curious. That was
Yeah.
my first question is what is the dynamic there in terms of like local businesses to that space and the use of those bins? You know, like who's
We've had some local businesses that have stopped using those bins because they think they're too far away and convenient. I know that like businesses in Clinton Plaza have historically used those bins.
that's what I would
Some
assume.
Main Street businesses
that it was
have used
Clinton.
those bins,
Uh-huh.
but since they've been moved from where the parking garage, they used to be housed in the parking garage.
Ah.
And it was a massive problem.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Those bins have still been kind of a massive problem because we have a lot of people just dumping in them.
Right.
Who owns
Which
those bins?
The haulers, Casella and what is it?
Logan's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess I assumed that they were rented by specific businesses. but-
So what's happened is
Yeah.
those bins exist, they're owned by a hauler, and
Yeah.
then the clients, the customers pay for access. Now,
Okay,
what
okay.
sometimes happens is people just dump stuff.
Dump stuff, okay.
Random residents are dropping.
They just
Yeah,
dump
I mean
it.
they're right out there, right? I mean it's
Yeah.
kind of like
Mattresses and
Yeah,
furniture
yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff.
they're kind of like right.
And
There's
then
an opportunity.
Historically, when they were in the parking garage structure, we were spending money to basically bump them out because
Yeah.
we were just dumping
Right.
Okay.
Everything.
So let's,
everything.
let's do November first.
I'd be more comfortable with that.
So then if I may,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
think it begs the question, like, then what are we doing there?
Yep.
I mean, if we're gonna just say, okay, bins, you know, maintenance, everything ends, okay?
Well, maintenance will
what?
never truly end because we're gonna have to keep the weeds and stuff knocked down as it grows up through, so, I mean, we're gonna be doing something.
So, okay,
That's
so
it
be
does-
minimal
you know,
maintenance.
maintenance.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
minimum maintenance to,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look
Right.
like a vacant lot, I mean, it's gonna be a vacant lot, but,
So then,
you know.
yeah.
And then we have to, I think, go through the next steps of what are we looking to do, looking to achieve in a way of doing something there.
Yep.
I think that's gotta be the start of the conversation, and I think, you know, that needs to start probably sooner than later if we're gonna have.
So,
To me, that's the big question, the hard question, right, for the council, for us. You know, what is going
Right.
on?
I think, you know, the big conversation the council has to really come up with is, are we gonna consider that surplus and sell it?
Right.
That was the first conversation we should have had a long time ago. That's it. If we're gonna agree on that it's a surplus, we're gonna sell it, then what's the next step with that? What are we looking to accomplish? You know, sell it as vacant land and hope somebody develops it, or have it where it's still under our control and we're gonna have people come and pitch their ideas of what they'd like to do there. I kinda like the second idea
Yeah.
because, you know, the whole idea is not to have
Yeah.
more vacant land. Cause we are investing this money into Market Street,
Absolutely, I mean, that
so.
piece of property costs quite a bit of money to renovate.
And the longer it stays vacant, the more we're gonna be relying on our police
Yep.
department as stuff starts getting, our codes department, our DPW, as things start happening in there. So,
I think the sooner we can agree on what kind of,
so,
you know, forward steps council is willing to take on this, you know, and move towards development, the better.
so I think we should just give a recommendation to the council so that we need to have the conversation, are we gonna declare this surplus land and sell it? And let that be the first topic of conversation and go from, then
Yeah.
what are we looking at?
I would call your attention to section 41-3 of the code, sale or long-term lease of other real property. Read A in that. Well, I can read it to you right now. Common Council of the City of Oneonta may, by resolution, establish such criteria as it deems or in the best interest of the people of the City of Oneonta for the disposal of parcels of real property owned by the city. So that, you know, it's right there that you can establish criterion and say, this is a type of development we would like to see there, or this is what we'd like to do with it, and then you could direct staff to
Yeah.
pursue that end, so that we have an idea of what the council was willing to support in the future. So,
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
I
I think
that's
the
it.
question is,
Yeah.
to your point, do we restart the process of that predates my tenure and Elaine's tenure of finding a bid, somebody interested, an interested party?
Yeah. Yeah, cause like when this,
So I think to the point about, you know, do we deem this surplus and try to sell it? Was that agreed upon as a process in the previous council?
depends who you ask.
Uh-huh.
It was let's put feelers out, cause it was during COVID time,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
and see what we can get, what kind of, but you also had a building on there at the time that we were doing it. We didn't tear the building down yet. And then it kinda went into the whole, if we took still had the parking garage, sell the air rights over top of the parking garage, and then it kinda snowballed over to 27 Market Street. Because there was this big plan for the transit hub and something else was gonna end up connecting, and, I mean, there's a ton of ideas, so I'm not sure that the actual selling of 27 Market Street was like a hard vote. It was more like everything was on Zoom too, so, which made it difficult too. So it was, without going back in the minutes, unless Greg has the minutes up, I'm not sure, or if Carrie has them up or can get to them. I don't think there was a hard vote to sell it. I think it was just to put feelers out there because we hired somebody, Sandy something or other.
Yeah, and Sandy Mathis.
Yeah.
Contacted developers, we showed it to at least one in person who actually did that.
So maybe this is where we gotta get like, you know, our Steve and Judy's, I can
Yep.
lose their department name, but
Well, I think that
community development, and see if there's,
it feels to me like this is one thing that we could, think about as we're working on our strategic plan too, with these criteria and what we want, you know, based on that strategic plan, and use those principles to guide that conversation.
Yes.
yep.
Because I just wrote that.
Oh,
Right before you-
So. Probably not the answers you're looking for, Greg, tonight, but.
I wasn't looking for any answers. I was looking to start a conversation.
Direction though.
So I guess, is there any direction now as far as, is this a discussion you want brought up to council?
We'll just tell them that starting on November 1st, we're not gonna maintain it anymore, the dumpsters need to be out of there. That's the first thing we're gonna do. We'll do the basic maintenance, make sure that weeds don't overgrow it. And we need to start, the recommendation from us is to start the process of whatever article you read to us, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the surplus it and what are we gonna do and what criteria we wanna put on it. and work it into the strategic plan is.
Mhm.
Okay, so for council, you wanna have that discussion first before, so the council did change the city code, the parking code, to establish parking regulations in the lot 2 years ago. That could be repealed, and that would be a motion by council that could be on the agenda for discussion,
Yeah.
and then you could, you know, carry on.
It's
with
probably
the rest
gonna
of
go
the
into the bigger discussion like
Yeah,
we just
I
had here.
think that one,
Given that, it sounds like, from what I just gleaned, the city is currently by having it as a parking location, the city's in violation of its own code. Right. So we need to have a discussion.
yeah.
There could be a second motion for discussion regarding the dumpsters and having that direction
Yeah.
Mhm.
given to remove them by a certain date.
That was my next question. Can we send a letter?
Yes.
But
But
after,
we can
after
council.
council,
After the council vote, does the vote, we'll instruct somebody to send a letter. Whoever wants to put their John Hancock on it. Did you just point to the mayor? He's not even here. All right. Sounds like a plan.
Yep. Good.
So the noise ordinance petition for garbage collection, I think I dropped the ball on this. We didn't formally say we were going to end it because of what was said to us with Casella and how the rules from the state of, the New York State Department of Conservation
Yeah.
and stuff that we explained to us, and it's kind of, county sets a lot of the stuff. So I think for, on our end, I think we did our due diligence, and there's really nothing we can do with it.
I agree with everything that was presented, you know, it sounds like, you know, there is no more wiggle room, with the timing, you know, in order to get things done safely and on the schedule that's required by all these other entities. So I agree.
I think for me, just to look at the medicine, I recall from our discussion, it was the DEC requirements that was really.
Oh, right.
Like there
Yeah.
is those constraints.
You're right. Yeah, because they have to, the trucks have to be offloaded by a certain time.
By a certain
And
time.
they've gotta
you
work
can't-
around the
Right. All these-
traffic, I mean, we are here talking about school traffic safety, and I remember that came up as part of the conversation,
And you
you know,
can't
with
legally
that.
store it on your
too.
truck if you miss the timing, and, you know, plus the amount of hauling that goes on, just not from inside, not Siegel County, but other ones, so I think we did what we could do with that, and, you know, we can't. I think if that needs to be pursued, it needs to go through Senator Holbroker's office and maybe, one of our county reps. So,
so as far as communication back to those who signed the petition, I forget where that came into, is it the clerk's office, Carrie? Do we have
She brought it with her.
the address, or?
Yes, I have contact information.
Okay, so do you want that to come from the committee, to come from me, just advising them, it's kinda like we did with Morgan Ave a while back?
I think it could come from us.
Yeah.
She gave a petition to
Yeah.
us.
Directly
we-
to us, and
We
we
had an
addressed it.
extensive conversation, and I think your suggestions about these other pathways, if she wanted to pursue it, are useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it's not ending it entirely, it's saying there's other potential avenues
that we can't really go
That
any
we
further.
We've exhausted all of
for
our
us, for the
options.
city, right?
So would you like us to draft a letter, we can send it to you as the
Yeah,
chair?
I'll sign up for it.
Nice.
You can edit it if you need to.
Yes, I can do that. Okay, brush and yard waste program.
So I asked this to be on the agenda because we have so much difficulty from ward to ward, people understanding when their pickup is and when their pickup is not. I wanna make one pickup a month for the entire city, each month. And so, just asking for permission to do that.
This is like a start next year.
No, I wanna start as soon as you tell me I can. Like, if I can do it in August, I would do it in August.
I'm already got it. I understand where you're coming from, but here's my thing. It's already been advertised and people have already marked it down. I think if we're gonna start something like this, I think you're gonna wanna start at the beginning of the cycle. So beginning of next year. That would just be me.
How much was advertised already? Like how many dates? I know that there was
The
like
whole
a
year.
summer
Yeah, the whole
schedule.
year gets
The
put out.
whole year, it was the whole year. I wasn't sure if it was just the summer. Oh.
Yeah. The problem is, we have people that call us and say, oh, I thought it was this week, oh, I had it out there, but you guys went by and you didn't pick it up, and, so I spend, myself and Todd and Mary Ann, we review our GPS units to see where our vehicles were, to see if we actually picked it up or not, so it's like eliminating this part of the city and this part of the city, different weeks, make them all the same, it will eliminate all this aggravation.
I'm on board with it. I just think you gotta start it the next year. I don't think trying to do it in the middle of the year, I think you're gonna get, I think, a lot more pushback because a lot of people aren't gonna go back and look at and even know that we changed it. I think your time on the phone is gonna increase more.
To be completely frank and honest, I don't think people look at it to begin with. Just
I do. I look it up all the time because I can never remember when it is, so.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I don't think implement it halfway through or a little over halfway through the year is the best way.
I'm fine starting next year, but I really, really would like to start it this year. But I understand why if you don't want to.
Because we're gonna be going to the fall, which we're gonna have leaves coming here shortly. I'm all right for doing it for next year. I think you can go ahead and schedule that out. I'm good with it. But I'm almost the only one voice sitting up here, and that's just my holdup. I don't think it's a good to do it halfway through, but I have been known to be wrong in the past too, so.
I think it makes sense to switch. I don't really have a preference either way.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings if you don't agree with me. It's okay.
No, I know that, no. I'm just thinking, yeah.
Would you have a contingency plan if you did switch it back if it doesn't pan out for the rest of this
I
year?
would not recommend switching it back. Once we switch it, I think we gotta stick with it. Because if you go flop back and forth, people will be so confused at that point.
I think I'm so confused at this point. So.
What if we did a new fall schedule?
What's that?
What if we did a new fall schedule, so we don't try to confuse people for August?
Start in September.
It's September 1.
What do you got? What is it? October has, it's October, November, then we don't do anything until Christmas tree pickup, right?
Correct, January.
So what if you implemented October 1st? I'm just looking at it like a lesser
Yep.
headache
More
for you
people
if
time
it
to
doesn't,
prepare.
you know?
I can move with that.
Can you live with that? How's that sound?
That's good.
Okay.
I should be taking notes because when I get my meeting, I'm not gonna remember anything we're talking about.
You always do though.
I know, I guess.
You recall everything. It's
Yes.
incredible.
So October 1st,
Yeah.
we're gonna switch to one-time citywide.
Yes.
And then the following year for 2026 is gonna be completely just one.
It will be 1 week every month. Instead of this 2 week split ward. Because people with awards go down the middle of the street, all kinds of confusion, by the residents
It's
there.
gonna get very confusing when this election's over and the 6th takes part of the 5th and.
Oh, yes.
So yes, yes.
Thank you.
Think us yet. We'll see how it works. Just a side comment. Greg, is this somewhere as we're building the budget that maybe we could have like some summer help to ease off our DPW to pick up? Where they could do this, like have summer help to do the green yard and stuff?
additional funding if we have the right, well, they're not CDL trucks, some of them are. You know, if you have the right individuals who are physically capable of tossing bags all day and driving those vehicles, it'd be, you gotta find the right people with a little bit more experience.
I would be concerned with younger drivers driving those container trucks.
So the other thing I was wondering was like walking that word, I was like, I wonder if we had like a central location to put this in. I know you get back, you get worried about the dumping, like we had down there, I get that, but, you know, like if like a ward, like, if I sponsored, like, hey, August, whatever, we're gonna do a green waste in the sixth ward residents can bring their stuff, like a one time during the summer thing. You know, closer probably to fall when they're cleaning up, or spring first thing after the winter, but if that would ease up a little bit.
I can park around your front lawn.
You did say he's sponsoring it. Oh, I forgot.
I'm good with it, unless I gotta walk. But I think there's a code against having something on my front lawn, if I remember right, so you might have to get that through Steve. Okay, that sounds like a plan to me.
Yep.
Okay. Park bathrooms. I love this topic. Yay!
So as discussed previously,
Yeah, council.
The Maskey Field and the pickleball court. This was discussed here at this level. It was suggested to talk with the fire department about locking the doors because the police department's really strapped. They're not at full staff, they have a ton of work, and they have difficulty getting there. And we're getting homeless individuals are spending the night there, and they're making a mess of both bathrooms. And we talked about renting more porta-johns, putting a porta-john at the pickleball court, just locking the pickleball court bathroom. We talked about putting a porta-john at the Maskey Field, and then having Gary Lang lock and unlock the doors for only his events. But this group here really didn't want us to spend money on more porta-john rentals, so just here to tell you, we still have the problem. And I don't think the police department or the fire department are capable.
So
The problem is that both sides are erratic, right? We don't have things that we can necessarily plan for. Things come in. What happens is, while we've done our best to try to lock the bathrooms up to a reasonable hour, I mean, we've seized 5 illegal handguns this month. Had an infant death yesterday, and just had we're strapped. I have one more body this year than we had last year. We have 3 in the academy, which is good. We have 3 on an eligible list right now, but it's going to be a year before we can do anything with them. It just takes forever, and I can't promise that we're going to be able to do this on a routine schedule, and that's really the bottom line. Is I hate to have damage to the bathrooms. I wish we could patrol them more regularly. We do get in there, and we do, but mostly it's based off of complaint work. We're very, very highly reactive. So for me to promise Chris that I'm going to be able to support what it is that he needs is just, it's empty promise.
So, a couple questions. So what happened with the fire, because we had talked about the fire department
Yeah.
specifically. Were they not able as well, or?
I'll let Greg respond to that.
Brian was able to come in. He did email his thoughts back. Let me just find that. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then my other question was, so did we say as a committee, the CLIC committee said we were not interested in having more porta-johns? Was that?
Yeah, I think that was consensus, wasn't it?
I think my takeaway was you wanted to look at other options that wouldn't incur the rental costs of 2 more bathrooms before we went to that step. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we would first look, because I actually am not recalling this conversation, so we had talked about the potential for improving the bathrooms and locking the bathrooms and then porta-johns, if that didn't work out. Is
Yeah, see if we could come up with a different solution before we start again.
Before we got into more rentals.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to turn to now.
Yeah, I mean, they've tried and.
Well, you wanted to, did you
Oh,
want to
there was-
respond with the fire department?
There's something else.
I mean, the chief had, we had at one point, I vaguely remember, it's been a while now, talked about in a department head meeting this issue, before this conversation happened at this committee. And his impression then was that the police was would continue handling locking the bathroom doors at nights during patrols, but I don't recall coming to any decision. I know, we still have the same issue, as the chief just described. So I don't think that's a solution. But the other suggestion he had, we could look into remotely locking technology for these facilities. Obviously, we haven't looked into that because that would understandably incur significant cost, and it's just having something isn't something we look into. But that could be an option in the future.
What time is your last person done at the park?
They're out at 3 o'clock. They're 10-hour days from 5 to 3:30.
So could theoretically they be open during the day and at 3:30 they get closed as you guys are walking out, or 3 o'clock or whatever you guys are walking out. That will ease up to most of the time that the pickleball court's being used during the day. And then we go to if Gary wants to open or close
During his
just for his events. And I mean, we already got them down there, the Port John's down there.
They're just not next to the big one.
Yeah.
We don't have them next to pickleball or
Yeah.
next to the men's.
Right, and that's why I was just saying, like, during the day, most of it's there.
What time were the bathrooms being locked when, you know?
30?
The park's
So
closed
like
at
the park
10:30,
closed
we
time, that's what I
generally
was
do it
wondering.
at a little bit after dark.
Okay.
So,
Like 9?
between 9 and 10:30.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about people playing, there's those
A
pickleball
lot of people go
courts.
down there in the evening.
Yeah,
And
they're
we have
well
light-
used.
We just upgraded the lights there, so now they have lights that they can play in the dark.
Okay, yeah.
They already, I think they're using it. I haven't been here that late to see if they're using it, but I assume they're using it.
Right. Yeah, I would think. I don't know, I guess I would be open to looking at rentals.
Yeah.
Weekends would also be an issue with that.
Let's just finish up the year and put the Rent-A-Johns down there and we'll
I think so.
try to come up with a different plan for next year.
Yeah. Cause those, I just think those pickleball courts are,
They seem very
Popular.
popular, yeah.
And maybe we can look at, we're going into the budget, we can always put it
Yeah.
in, like, let's look at some locking stuff.
That's what I was
Right.
gonna say, look at this remote locking
I
option.
mean, but we also
Yeah.
we also talked about having to really build a big bathroom complex down there because we're all like hodgepodge, because the amount of events and stuff, so maybe it's a bigger discussion how much we wanna spend, but.
Destruction-proof bathrooms.
Mhm.
I've been taking photographs of other facilities in the state occasionally.
Chris and I sent each other pictures of sidewalks
We
in
go on vacation.
Sidewalks and
we take some
toilets?
pictures of-
foreign countries.
It must be a
With the
facility.
stainless
because we do
steel,
that when we're
they'll
doing
have,
that.
yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, if that's,
Yeah. It's, I mean, I think the porta potties were trying to be the solution to what we already had and, so we need to keep moving that conversation along. What's the next,
I would say that the porta potties have been a really good solution for us.
We use corrections grade toilets and ourselves, and there's no lifting them up, there's no smashing them, there's no, and we have plenty of people try. But they've been there for 40 years and, we
Okay.
haven't had anybody break them yet, so.
That's pretty good then.
That's the type of thing I think that you're talking about, is having like a fixed in place, much more durable product. And with the porcelain, the way that they are, they're just not.
That sounds like that's what we need to be looking at.
No,
Okay.
I think we got a plan. All right, lowering and raising the American flags on city property.
This was another one we discussed briefly, is there an option for police or fire because they're a 24-hour operation to help out on weekends and holidays rather than have to have our DPW crew in to raise and lower them. It's kind of a similar conversation. Chief Knapp did also suggest an auto flag raiser for that. There's such a thing, a device that could operate the flag poles. We haven't looked at that other than his email. Another option that, and Carrie, is there anything printed out?
Nothing printed out,
Oh, okay.
but
Could you share it? Okay. There's been some discussion with the council about volunteers helping out certain city tasks. This might be one where we could reach out and see if there's anyone interested. It's a pretty simple task. It doesn't have to be done weekly. It's only when there is a half-staff event and it happens to fall on a holiday, which most of them do, or on a weekend. Sometimes they happen when we're here. But perhaps we could have some people, volunteers in the community, adopt a flagpole to raise the flag and lower for half-staff events. So Carrie had kind of put together a draft
I have a draft.
advertisement for that.
I'll see if I have a draft advertisement
Yeah.
and 2 different posts, if you don't mind with the remote
Oh.
issue.
Technology and me, I really think this is a good idea.
One button. Twice, but one button.
Huh?
Power button?
I hit the power button, I hit it twice. Jeez, tough crowd.
So this would, it's really small, I'm so sorry. But the name would require some work, I see some comments coming about volunteer flag team in the city of Oneonta, so we'll come up with something different there. But kind of inquiring if there are volunteers, and it could be of all ages, because I know certain individuals under the age of 18 that would be incredibly engaged, as long as they have a responsible adult that signed our waiver with them. But they'd be able to make themselves available to raise and lower flags in observance of either official holidays, there are 6 or 7 throughout the year that are required or ordered, and then any as-needed orders that may come up. Training is quick and simple, would just be a simple familiarization with the city's equipment and infrastructure. Basic flag etiquette, letting, don't let the flag touch the ground and, raise before lowering and all that intricacy. But yeah, this is something that we could set up, and just thinking of never mind the individuals, but we have a strong veteran community. We have the Boy Scouts, we have the Girl Scouts, we have the Rotary, we have a lot of organizations that are civic-minded and would probably be engaged in something like this. Never mind even just random individuals who might want to participate. So,
I love this. I know I've been talking to you and some other folks about this idea of getting volunteers more engaged, and that's a bigger project, right? But this is like one
You could
little way that we can
start
step
small
into
and-
that. And I always think that's the best way to do it, right? You do it with one thing and then you can grow it.
and we would have the city, we would have control, we'd be able to, train these individuals and educate them how we want them to be educated, make sure they're aware of things they need to be aware of. And even on those, I feel horrible, I can't remember if it's 6 or 7, but the official orders throughout the year that are set. We could even, City Hall is closed typically on those days, we could have someone that's already dedicated. We have parade events using, the veterans, that could be part of their, ceremony before or after the parade route, so.
But the other also maybe as needed, so if there's,
Absolutely.
certain events that will require.
We had a firefighter death in East Branch, the flag needed to be lowered. So the fire department took care of their flagpole. It required additional staff elsewhere. But getting able to, to get that addressed, serve that,
Kind of like adopt a highway, adopt a flag.
adopt a flag.
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity.
Okay, sounds good. I'm okay with moving forward with that.
Would this be a motion for the council that we would need to, not necessarily?
Not necessarily. It could be presented at the council just to when we kick it off, get the word out. I don't think there needs to be a motion.
Okay. How quick do you guys wanna start? How much time would you need, I guess?
Yes.
Better way of saying it.
September, I
Labor
think
Day?
is the first,
Okay.
so.
We can aim for that.
Great.
Steve Yearly volunteered to be the first one. It's very nice of you. Oh, good job in the 4th of July parade. You guys did a great job out of it.
Try.
I got to sit there and watch it, so. All right, I just have one thing that's not on here that I really want to try to get done this year, because we talked about it for almost 2 years now.
What is it?
Naming the snow plows.
Oh, I haven't
I
heard
want to
that
get
come
that
up.
done.
Okay.
Chris, Greg, Carrie.
I brought this up a few years ago, so
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for doing it.
Let's do it.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about it a
Well,
little bit
we'll
late
try.
last year. I think we have time this year. We can maybe.
There's like GPS tracking.
Yeah, because the
Right.
public thing, because the plows are already GPS, right? So it's just speaking with whoever does that to get a public facing,
That part's gonna be the most difficult part.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that has the capability without additional cost.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, naming them physically.
what fun
They
is
can
it if
glamour
you can't
shots.
watch what they're
They
doing?
can
You gotta
glamour
watch
shots
all
on
day.
Quick question. At our last council meeting, we had discussed the rental fees for New York Park. And I think we're instructed to have another discussion about those fees to kind of bring them back to the committee. Was that for Click?
I think that's
I
fine.
don't know, I think I saw that, yeah, for
I
finance.
think it's on finance.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, very close.
Great.
I have something quick though, just that, the, extra cones that were put up on Walling for traffic calming really seem to be helping and working in that area, so thank you for addressing that.
We'll have after the fact, our follow-up speed study by next
Yes.
Tuesday or so. We can see if it made any real difference on average, and we'll let you know.
And phase 2 is coming up, correct? At the end of August?
End of August,
End of
beginning of
August,
September.
yeah.
And that'll make it a little different, I think a little better
Yeah.
for that
Okay.
neighborhood.